Hey, welcome back. This is part two of building a truck bed camper, mostly out of cedar pickets. Let's get right into it. Just to show a bit, I've talked about my warping issue before. Here I clamped some boards together and I took the last clamp off and you can just see how bad that one is compared to the rest. So my bench isn't long enough for the wall pieces. So I have a piece of square tube in the shed, but it's too long to get out of the rafters. I don't know how it got up there. So I found this piece of round, it's an old piece of hammock, and I clamped it to that to hopefully keep them straight. And I screwed it while they were in this orientation clamped this way so that they won't be bowing out that way. And hopefully it keeps them straight. I think being 2.5 inches thick will prevent or make it a little bit more resistant to warping, but we will find out. I'm moving on to the walls. This took so much math, it broke my brain. Someone who does this probably has a real easy time with it, but I'm doing the sandwich joint. This is gonna be taller to accept the angle piece, which will then go to the roof. This is 2.5 inches, but the angled piece is gonna be 3 inches, but 3 inches tipped on its side is not 3 inches anymore, it's thicker. So I had to figure that out. It's written down there, I believe it's 4.5. But then I also need 1.5 inches down there because they will be fitting into the slots here. So with all that said, I believe the magic number for this is 46 inches. The next thing I'm doing is taking a 1/2 inch plywood sheet, trimming it into 3-inch strips, and those will go across the full length. Just for one beam though, the other two should be short enough to be some 6-foot pieces of fencing. What I did notice is while cutting, a couple pieces have holes going all the way through. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm taping up one end and then filling in the holes with glue. Where's another one? Oh, right here. I gotta top that guy off. It went down a bit right there. Just to add some strength, because that's quite a big break right there with just the veneer over it. All right, guys, as you can see, I got 2 of the wall and ceiling pieces up, and I made a mistake. I got 2 things. I made a mistake, and I'm out of wood. I was so focused on the height and the width and making sure everything was squared up, I forgot about the height of the wall after the diagonal piece is put on. My original goal was to be able to put one sheet of 4x8, have the wall be 4 feet. so I wouldn't have to put 2 and then have to be the whole 8 feet long. With the angled pieces, where right there, it's like 4 feet and 3 inches. I completely messed up that measurement, so I'm gonna have to run a whole board horizontal and then run like a 3-inch strip on top of it, which sucks. I was disappointed. I didn't even think about it until last night when I was laying in bed. I was like, oh, I forgot about that measurement. And there's gonna be, you know, wood butting up on the camper that I'm gonna have to seal up. It's just, it adds more work of making one whole gap that I have to seal and make sure that you can't see and water doesn't leak in, most importantly. So that kind of had me in a down mood today. And the other thing is, after doing these 2 pieces, I am out of dry wood. I used all my cedar fence posts. The weather got real cold again here, and the sun hasn't been out. It's been snowing and raining again. So my wood has just been sitting in the garage wet. I've had the dehumidifier running and I kept the heater on, but it's just not getting as dry as it would sitting out in the sunlight. So my wood is wet. So I think I mentioned before, I don't know if I'll include it in here, but my coworker told me about another store down the road that keeps all of their wood inside. So I made a trip there. The store I've been going to is about 5 minutes away. This one's about 25 minutes away. So it was quite a long trip, which was keeping me from going there. But I went there, and unfortunately, they also keep their fence pickets outside, but they put them in an awning area compared to it just being wide open at the place I was going. So I went there and I picked up some fence pickets, and they're pretty nice. Some were dry and some were a bit damp, but I took my time, picked the ones with the least amount of knots I could. I don't know if you can see that there, but it's a nice piece. But they claim that these are the same 5/8 of an inch by 6 inch by 6 feet. But I noticed it feels a little bit thinner, but I measured it and it's about 9/16 as is, and it's extremely rough sawn. But I don't know if that's just from the drying process, being a dry board or not. But I did plane one down, and they do plane down to 1/2 inch and don't have the rough sawn on them. So hopefully these work out better, and I'm hoping I can plane a few that'll be completely dry. You know, it was hard because I got to look for pieces that are dry, straight, and have the least amount of knots. And you're not going to be able to find all of them with those characteristics. This was one I found. This is an exception. It's dry, it's straight, and it has 0 knots on it, but that's the only one. I just tried to find the smallest amount of knots possible that weren't in important spots, and straightness, because I hate battling crooked wood. But check these out. This is what I'm real excited about. For the indoor section, I found decking 5/4, which shrinks down to about 1 inch, 5/4 by 6 by 8. And this is cedar. Look at this. I don't know if it's gonna focus, I can't see the screen. No knots, straight as an arrow. It's beautiful and dry. Most of all, it's all dry, pre-finished. I don't think this one was chemically treated. I don't think it's pressure treated, but it was kiln dried. I'll have to double check, but I got these I'm gonna use for the cab over section. So I'm not gonna be using these for a while, but since I was making the trip all the way out to that store, I figured I would pick them up. This made the trip worth it. I'm real excited for these. So anyways, I'm gonna get to planing these new boards. I'm gonna see if I can find enough dry ones to make the 2 more walls. And yeah, I'm gonna get back to work. I'll do a time lapse or something right here. Oh, one more thing that was holding me back. I found a nail gun online, and I bought it, I ordered it. It was at my nearest shipping distributor center a week ago, and it has been sitting there. So after 3 days of sitting there, I really needed it to get these walls up, so I went out and bought a nail gun in store. I paid like twice the price, but I needed it, and man, it makes all the difference. The 1 1/4, I say nail gun, it's a staple gun. Sorry, it takes the 1 1/4 narrow crown staples, and it's a game changer. It's nice because they have some leeway, so I can nail this up there, get my measurements right, tweak it if I need to, and then screw it in. And this will help a lot with the walls, but I'm kind of bummed out that I bought 2 technically. One of them's just lost at a shipping center, and then I'm gonna have to try and return it when it finally does get here. So those are just some hurdles and speed bumps I've had so far. I'm sure there will be many more with this, but I am optimistic. Those new pieces look beautiful. I could cry. They're so straight. They're very dry, not bone dry, but drier than what I've been working with. Okay, got the third piece mounted, and through a little finagling, got these darn near perfect. And each beam is the same. Well, I take that back. The third beam, the furthest one back, is a 1/2 inch lower, and then I'm also going to slope the very last one down even further, so that hopefully rain and snow slide off the back. But these two are the same, and going forward to the cab over, they'll be the same as well. Got the 4 main wall pieces up, wall and ceiling pieces. I still need to put in some supports in places. Here I've got the supports for the walls, and I have a little bit of a mixed match of wood, so I figured I would go through and explain it. These are 1.5 by 1.5, and that's because this is framed out for a window, and the window says it'll only go into a gap of a maximum of 1.5 inches. So I had to do that there. This is just a pine 2x4 I cut down. This is gonna be where the bar sits. So I just use that because I was gluing and screwing these, and I was doing 2 pieces instead of 3, and they started splitting on me where I was driving screws in. I tried using the pocket jig, and then over here, it's on the underside, but I just tried running them in on an angle to try and get into both of them, but they still are splitting on the end. So I think I'm gonna stay away from doing it this way, and I'm gonna go with 3. I have the window framed out on this side. It's a little bit smaller, and I still have to finish this side and this upper one here. And like I was saying earlier, I'm trying to kill as many birds with as least amount of stones as I can. So the top window frame here is also at 48 inches where the top of the plywood's gonna ride. So then this one I had to put here because it's the size of the window, but I had to put another one here because this is where the counter would sit, which it seems low, but I measured my house counters and they're at 36 inches. So I put this one at 37. It's an inch higher. I figured just so I could get more storage space below it. And yeah, so that's a little bit of an explanation of why I have so many different mixed sizes of wood. And honestly, I think I'm just gonna cheap out and go with the pine for a lot of the rest of it because it's a single piece. I don't have to worry about this splitting, and it's super easy. I don't have to glue all these strips together and wait for it to dry. It's a lot more comfortable using it. People build their whole campers out of these things, so I know it'll be fine. And it's cut down to 2.5, so it's thinner than a whole piece of 2x4. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm gonna keep going. My compressor's going, so I don't know how good you can hear me. But today I'm gonna be working on doubling up, making these 3 thick. So I'm cutting 3-inch sections. And one of the calculations I did get right was to make from here to here less than 6 feet on all of them, so that I can use a standard cedar fence post. Because this is a 1/2-inch plywood, and I got the nice plywood, so it was $75 a sheet. So I really didn't want to have to buy 2 of those. So let's get to it. First piece going up. It's got a nice interference fit. I'm hoping now that I wetted it down with glue, it doesn't make me look like an idiot. Oh, that could make my life a lot easier. Now, do I think the staples are gonna hold, or should I leave it clamped until the glue dries? Here I have the final 3-piece ceiling glued and stapled up. I was actually reviewing the first of the footage last night and starting to edit it together for the first video. And I realized I didn't have a lot of video of me doing the work. I think I was just a bit overwhelmed with doing the project as a whole in general. So I am trying to record more of the process instead of just showing you the done parts, like here's what I did, here's what I did. Anyways, just a little note on that. All right, and that's where I'm gonna call it for this video. We will continue working on this in part 3. Thanks for watching.